Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys.
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
It's the question that's on everyone's mind. How do you live a good life? How much do work, health, relationships matter? What about happiness, meaning, money, and love? What if you're alone or anxious, ill or in pain? These are the questions we explore weekly on the top-ranked Good Life Project podcast, hosted by me, award-winning author, 4-time industry founder, and perpetual seeker, Jonathan Fields. Every week, I sit down with world-renowned experts, iconic writers, and researchers, and while everyone from Olympic gold medalists to world-shaking activists, A-list celebs, musicians, and more, all with the single goal: to help understand what it truly takes to live a good life and to feel a little less alone along the way. Listen to the Good Life Project podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what today is?
I do, and I know we're running late today.
We are, and it's my fault, but it's kind of not my fault because I got sick from being around people who were sick over Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah, but you're like a sponge for sick.
Yeah, that's still not my fault. Like, it'd be one thing if I was a straw and I was actively sucking it up, then it would be my fault.
Right.
It actively wasn't my fault.
Right.
And if I could have stayed home, I would have.
Yeah.
So when you say it's not my fault now?
Sure.
So anyway.
So what is today?
Today is Q&A Saturday.
Wow. Yeah.
I told you. Yeah, yesterday I pretty much slept all day. I had fever and I vomited twice, and I slept a lot today, and I didn't have fever, but I did vomit again earlier today.
And now you all know.
Yep. And then we found out from your brother that some of his kids are sick.
Right.
And
but that's not surprising.
But that's probably where I got it.
Right. I'm just saying that's
they're
not
always
surprising.
Sick. They're always sick. They came to Thanksgiving. The next day I was sick. And there you have it.
Right.
So.
All right. Did you say the Q&A bit?
Yeah, we're doing Q&A Saturday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, and what are we covering today?
Okay, so I had some questions about the tribe of Dan, because we had mentioned that that's where you go to get your liberal arts degree.
Right, and Dan. I mean, it's Dan.
Yeah.
And we love Dan.
Dan the man. And so I thought we would look up a little bit about him and his tribe.
Okay, so we're going into Dan today, huh?
Just a little, yeah.
A little bit?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go get into this.
Okie dokie.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Keke Palmer. I'm proud to introduce to you my new podcast. Baby, this is Keke Palmer, exclusively on Amazon Music. I'm putting my friends, family, and some of the hottest experts in the hot seat to ask them the questions that have been burning on my mind. What would former child stars be if they weren't actors? Is OnlyFans only bad? I want to know, so I asked my mama about it. These are the questions that keep me up at night, and I'm letting y'all all in on it. Come kick it with me and my weekly guests as we go down the rabbit hole and dive deep into my mind together. Listen to Baby This is Keke Palmer, exclusively on Amazon Music.
Hey listener, did you know you can get paid to podcast? With Acast Plus, you can launch paid subscriptions and one-time payments to turn listeners into paying fans. You can offer exclusive content, early access, ad-free streams, and much more, which listeners can access from their favorite podcast apps. And we have all the tools you need to promote them. If you're interested in Acast Plus, sign up to Acast now for free at acast.com to get access.
So, Tribe of Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get into Dan, I need to talk about the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
There's 10 lost tribes of Israel?
Remember how God swept them away?
Yeah.
They're actually called the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
But did we ever learn about them at all? Did they name them?
Because
I thought there was 12.
there was 12 tribes of Israel.
Okay.
10 of them were swept away, and they are referred to as the 10 lost tribes of Israel.
Oh.
And I came across that during my studies of Dan because the tribe of Dan is one of those 10.
Oh, okay.
So
the 10 are 10 that we know of,
Mhm.
just they no longer exist as a clan thing, tribe, whatever.
they got swept away.
Swept away.
Yeah.
Got it.
God used his vacuum cleaner on them. He swept them.
Got it.
In Ohio parlance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so in 930 BC, the 10 northern tribes formed the independent kingdom of Israel in the north.
Okay.
And then the 2 other tribes, Judah and Benjamin,
Right.
they set up the kingdom of Judah in the south.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So
and obviously, as far as the Bible's concerned, they're the more important ones.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So following the conquest of the northern kingdom by the Assyrians in 721 BC, the 10 tribes were gradually assimilated by other peoples and thus disappeared from history.
Oh.
So, like, basically the Babylonian exile thing happened and they
They're
were
gone.
gone. They were done.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So the book of Revelation, one revelation, as opposed to how I've referred to it in the past as multiple revelations.
Right. Yeah.
The book of one revelation mentions the 12 tribes of Israel, but the selection does not include the names of Ephraim and Dan, even though those are 2 of the 12.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
It has been suggested that this could be because of their pagan practices.
Ooh.
Classical rabbinical writers concluded that Dan was very much a black sheep.
Dan was the bad boy.
He was bad. He
Yeah.
was a black sheep. Dan is portrayed as having hated Joseph, the youngest brother.
Yeah.
With the multicolored technicolor of goodness who became the right-hand man of Pharaoh in Egypt.
Right.
Right.
He was he one of the ones that wanted to sell him right off? He's like,
yeah, not only that,
yeah.
Dan is actually the one that invented the idea of deceiving Jacob by smearing Joseph's coat with the blood of a goat. Yeah, he hated Joseph.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
So in upcoming books of the Bible that we haven't read yet, we're going to see that the north of Canaan is associated with darkness and evil. Okay? And that's where Dan is specifically.
Yeah.
Rabbinical sources treated Dan as the archetype of wickedness, which has even led to some people proposing that the Antichrist will eventually come from specifically the tribe of fucking Dan.
Now we got to get our roots figured out, see if we can, have any Dan in us.
Well, I did not keep the list. There's a whole list of people who claim to have come from the tribe of Dan.
Really?
Yes. The Danish is one that people think, because of the similarity of name and all of that, that they descended from the tribe of Dan.
I like the Danish people.
I know,
They're
right?
Pretty good people. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, I like Dan. We like Dan so far in the Bible.
Sure.
They don't seem like such bad people.
There's also a group of Ethiopian Jewish people who are supposed to be descended from the tribe of Dan.
Okay.
That's like the other direction.
Right.
So there's like a whole slew of people that are supposed to be descended from the tribe of Dan.
Okay.
All different shades of people, all different locations geographically.
Right.
So they disappeared, but did they?
Right.
And a belief persists that one day the 10 lost tribes will be found. Just so you know.
There they are. We just misplaced them for thousands of years.
Found it.
Where you guys been? Man.
Remember when
we missed you.
Remember when our kiddo was like a little one and would misplay something or would play peekaboo and go, "That is."
Yes. Yep.
That's what's going to happen. We're going to
Right.
find him and we're going to go, "Oh, that is."
Right.
Yeah. So that is all I could really find about the tribe of Dan and Dan himself. There was nothing listed about how a lot of artisans seem to come from them.
Sure. Okay.
So that.
But I mean, if they were like the bad, the black sheep, right?
Right. We're not going to give them a lot of credit.
People, whatever. Like, that tends to be where artisans come from.
I know. I was thinking that too.
Like, they're always looked down upon. Like, oh, you damn artisans over there. You
can't get your shit together and get good jobs.
That's not a real job. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
You get your ass to works.
Mm-hmm. We like corporate America. Yeah. Go get a real job.
Go punch that clock.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 9 to 5, baby.
Damn you, Dan.
But not just 9 to 5. You better love that extra bonus time.
Right.
You don't get OT.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to call off.
Right. Yeah.
Who needs a union?
Right.
Fuck off. Mm-hmm. Work 24/7.
All the time.
And be glad of it. Be happy. Grateful.
Yeah.
You don't need to pee.
Right. You just bring a cup.
Yeah. Stupid. So the only other thing that I found about them was their primary trade characteristic was seafaring, which was
I've heard that before.
It was very unusual for the Israelite tribes. They were the only ones, but they lived along the Mediterranean coast, so that's kind of why.
Yeah.
And the tribe is said to have stayed on their ships with their belongings.
Oh.
Which,
yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that. Like, did they though?
I don't know. I mean, nobody liked them, so maybe they were guarding that shit.
Like,
they're like, these fuckers are going to take our shit if we don't just stay here.
Well, and they kept traveling further and further north because they kept getting pushed up north.
Got it. Like,
because the Philistines...
we're going to take this land, so, just move on along. Yeah.
Well, the Philistines were south of them and kept pushing them upward.
Oh, okay.
And north of them was other tribes of Israel.
And Israel's like, get lost.
So
you can't have our land, so just either fight them or go away.
So they kind of went away.
They're like, we're just going to stay on our ships. Y'all can fuck off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to them. I don't know where they went. They may show up again someday.
They probably like one day they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just sail other places and leave these fuckers behind and take our shit with us and peace out.
And if the earth is flat, maybe they fell off the edge.
Right. You never know. Right.
Aha. So that is it for the tribe of Dan. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, that was interesting. Right? I appreciate that. We always joke about the tribe of Dan whenever they come up because, Dan. Dan. It just sounds, it's so simple and plain.
It's weird. All these names I can't pronounce, and then there's Dan.
There's Dan. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like this because I'm always going down rabbit holes, and there weren't any specific questions because, again, we're just replaying old material.
Yeah.
But I just was like, let's see if there's anything about Dan. So rabbit hole.
Yeah.
We rabbit holed.
I like rabbit holes.
Yeah. Did I answer a question? No.
No, but you made it fun.
Did I learn a thing?
We got to talk about Dan some more, so it's always fun to talk about Dan.
I knew you'd like that.
It's too bad there's not like SEO in podcast voices. Like anytime somebody searched Dan after this episode, they'd be like, Dan, that's where we gotta. They're talking about Dan over there
all the time.
Dan.
Danny dan.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, and sorry this one came out late today.
But it's still on the correct day.
It is still on the correct day.
It's still Saturday as we're recording, and you are going to put it out.
That's right. You guys.
The second we're done.
Yeah, I'm putting out. Well, I gotta do some things, but after the second I'm done with that, then it'll be out.
Yeah,
so.
Not done recording, done fixing it up.
Right. So whatever. How long is this episode? 12 minutes. Yeah. 12 minutes prior to this, we were at least doing podcast shit.
Yeah.
If you got it right away.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All
right. We will be back tomorrow with our
Sacrilegious Book Club.
That's the one, and our weekly replay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, on Monday we'll be back with
2 Chronicles Chapter 6.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Yep. Bye.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
It's the question that's on everyone's mind. How do you live a good life? How much do work, health, relationships matter? What about happiness, meaning, money, and love? What if you're alone or anxious, ill or in pain? These are the questions we explore weekly on the top-ranked Good Life Project podcast, hosted by me, award-winning author, 4-time industry founder, and perpetual seeker, Jonathan Fields. Every week, I sit down with world-renowned experts, iconic writers, and researchers, and while everyone from Olympic gold medalists to world-shaking activists, A-list celebs, musicians, and more, all with the single goal, to help understand what it truly takes to live a good life and to feel a little less alone along the way. Listen to the Good Life Project podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Hey wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.